The fifth installment of the series Pirates of the Caribbean. Or is it Caribbean? Ted Tell No Tales is in theaters on Friday, May 26th, and one of the stars of said film is sitting to my right, also brilliantly playing Albert Einstein in the Nat Geo series Genius, which is on Tuesdays at 9 Eastern Time. The Emmy, Tony, and Academy Award-winning actor Geoffrey Rush here in the Rich Eisen Show studio. Hello, sir. Thank you for being here.
Triple Crown.
You are the Triple
These
Crown
guys
threat.
probably think I'm talking about the Kentucky Derby, don't they?
Yes.
What's the other one? Belmont or something?
Belmont.
Yes.
Preakness.
The Preakness is coming on Saturday. Well, if you were on tomorrow's show, we would have one of the premier sports handicappers of his generation, a gentleman named Hank Goldberg from down in South Florida. We would invite you to be part of our wagering if you were on tomorrow's show, and it's welcome to you now as well.
I don't follow the turf.
You don't follow the turf.
No, I should, because we have the Melbourne Cup in Australia. And
Right.
It's kind of the big. We boast it's the biggest in the Southern Hemisphere. Anything that's big in the Southern Hemisphere.
Did you ever watch Australian rules football? Ever follow it? Ever do anything with that at all?
I've had a difficult time with sports since I was about 9.
Why is that?
Well, I grew up in Brisbane, and the game up there was the big game up there is rugby league.
Yes,
it's brutal. And when I was in grade 4, grade 5, maybe it was kind of compulsory that you had to go into a team.
Yes.
So I went, I'll give it a shot,
Yes.
And I was in the under 4 stone 7, so that's about 70 pounds. I was a skinny kid.
Yeah.
And I went out there and I saw all these grade 5 boys. I reckon they're over 4 stone 7. There's no way. They were racing towards me, and I just turned and ran the other way. And I've been running ever since.
Well, I think it's worked out for you. But in my situation, I realized that I could not hit the curveball in baseball as well as others, or a jump shot in basketball as well as others, and decided to talk about it instead of playing it. That's what
People
I decided.
find their niche. I actually, we've got a sports writer on the Melbourne Age who's, I think, the greatest journalist in the country. And I only got onto him by accident because he gets front page coverage, not just in the sports pages at the back. He's like, his prose is somewhere between Hemingway and Greek drama. He is a brilliant writer called Greg Boehm.
Okay.
And I remember when the Australian Open was on, one of the early seeds was Federer up against this bright young brash boy called Tomic. And Greg Boehm's article was the greatest read about sport. You went what the newspaper people call, it's a good read.
Yes. And so that's the sort of stuff
So that's his gift,
Okay.
you know. And I've expressed my fandom for him publicly as often as I can, because sometimes the press get a bit lazy.
Are you serious? Come on now, Geoffrey. Don't say that now. But, so I was going to ask you about the whole Australian rules football and the guys in the suits who make the arm movement for points and stuff like that. So that's
it's
sort
a
of
spectacular game to watch. My son follows it, and I love watching with him. And the action replays in Australian rules are spectacular because these guys, they climb up each other.
Yeah,
it's like a leopard going up an elephant's leg. They get right up and take the mark.
And there's no padding or anything like that. See that, and we in the National Football League, we pad up, we put helmets on. Not these guys.
Yeah, no. We're convicts.
Now, that's why you turned around and ran. I've got Geoffrey Rush here in the Rich Eisen Show studio. So, is it Pirates of the Caribbean or Pirates of the Caribbean, Geoffrey? Where do you go on this front?
I'd go Caribbean myself.
Okay.
How are you guys? I had a little Einstein moment there.
Okay.
I just met these boys before. I went Mike, Chris, and I went E = MC squared.
Oh my gosh!
Straight off the top.
Wow. It's the greatest compliment we've ever had.
Eisen.
How to remember people's
Chris.
names? You got to find a pattern.
We are E
M
= M and then C squared.
Yeah.
Boom.
What if I don't think that the three of them combined or squared is equal to me, though, Geoffrey? What do I do on that? What do I do on that front?
Then the equation's completely ruined.
What has it been like playing Einstein? What did you learn about him that we already didn't know?
Well, yeah, most of the 95% of the stuff that's actually in the details of this 10-part drama series I knew nothing. I was 4 when he died in 1955. So I know him as a pop cultural icon, and you know he was in his era as famous as Charlie Chaplin, kind of. But he was a theoretical physicist, and to be a household name
Right.
As a cosmological mathematician is just amazing, you know. But in his more personal life, which is what the series goes into,
Yes.
it deals with his 2 marriages, which are, you know, were both unfortunate in some degrees, and they were. He like, what was the phrase you used before?
It was shocking to me to see Albert getting busy. Is what I said to you before. Yeah.
Yes, I know. He was very busy. He was a great. He was known as he had a big libido. He was a great lover, and women were a very big part of his life.
Yeah, I would never, put that 2 and 2 together.
Must have been something about the hair.
Could have been. Well, look, with me, I'm going the other direction on that front. But and it's interesting as well of the films that you've been in and that I've been such a big fan of. Before we talk about the Pirates movie, Munich, you were part of a film that was chronicling of a very obviously important moment in the world of sports and news and a cross section. What was that like for you to be on the set with Spielberg for a movie about Munich?
It was fantastic because Tony Kushner kind of wrote a very complex portrait of the whole event without kind of demonizing one side or the other, but trying to look at really what happened, because it was a pretty devastating attack at the 72 Olympics. And I'd known Steven Spielberg a little bit socially and everything, and he was such a master. And it had people like Daniel Craig was in it, and my Aussie mate Eric Bana. It was a very, very good team. Kieran Hines, good, strong actors.
Geoffrey Rush here on the Rich Eisen Show. When you first got the script for Shakespeare in Love, what did you think when you saw that script and you got that in your hands?
I was sitting in my agent's office in Sydney, and I'm a huge Tom Stoppard fan, and he had done a lot of work on the second kind of drafting of it. And I got to like page 5, first scene, and I looked up at my agent and I said, I have to be in this. The dialogue was just so smart and so good.
And suddenly you're on the set of a movie that, did you know at the time that you had some sort of Oscar worthiness?
I think we all thought it was going to be a small bijou art house kind of experience, but Harvey Weinstein kind of turned it into a date movie, and
He did.
It broke the magic $100 million mark and all that stuff, and it was great.
Geoffrey Rush here on the Rich Eisen Show, and I thought the Pirates movies were supposed to stop after 3. Here we are on 5. I mean, why is this still going on? What do you attribute the popularity
the writers
to?
kept coming up with more adventures. I think Jerry Bruckheimer is a very creative producer. He doesn't churn them out year after year. He waits until he thinks he's got better stories, more interesting, new characters. And I have to admit, with this, the 5th, it's going to blow everyone's socks off with the really groundbreaking CGI visual effects in it are something else.
Yeah, I mean, we showed the clip of you with Javier Bardem, and in the television-only segment, his hair looks like it's going through some sort of matrix thing, like it's floating in the air.
That is all done in post-production because he's come up from under the sea. I mean, Javier sort of plays, he's a half man, half prawn. And he had this amazing prosthetic makeup on to make him look like he was a crustacean. But in post, they then made his hair look like it's constantly underwater, even when he's out in the air, and it's really almost poetic.
And what is your? I'm with Geoffrey Rush here. What is your guilty pleasure movie that we would be shocked that Geoffrey Rush loves this movie, can't get enough of it? If you're watching it on television, you drop the remote. What would that be?
Any movie, not mine, any other movie.
Any movie yes, not yours. Any movie that...
I remember really loving Jennifer Lopez in U-Turn. There, I've said it.
You got that off your chest.
I got it off my chest. Yeah.
You like that? Really?
I did.
For
Yeah.
real?
Yeah.
What did you like about it?
It was just good to watch. My favorite film of all time. I'm a silent film fan, and Charlie Chaplin's City Lights. I recommend everyone sees it.
Well, I mean, you know, here in the 21st century, recommending a silent movie might fall with a little bit of a thud, but why so?
Just great storytelling, gags that still work. I've seen it with big houses and in retro cinemas and stuff. And it's great to hear laughs that are 86 years old or what, 87 years old.
Sure.
Now.
So the headline, if you don't mind, because I know what you said about the media, is Geoffrey Rush loves Jennifer Lopez and Charlie Chaplin. Is that the headline of this conversation?
Something like that.
We can go with that. And is there? I'm hearing a rumor that Paul McCartney is involved with this current film that you're in right now.
Well, you know, there's always been a little bit of a kind of flavor of having Keith Richards in because Johnny was really inspired by the kind of the rockers of the 60s when he was first looking at how to create Jack Sparrow. And then I think he decided, why don't we get him in and he can play my dad? And then I don't think Keith was available on this shoot. So they brought Paul McCartney in as one of Johnny's uncles.
And there you have it. And is he? Can we tell who he is? Or
yeah.
We need to be okay. You can understand.
Yeah,
who he is?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
very
No,
good.
he's in there. It's great. He
Well,
sings as well.
I've heard he's a pretty good singer. We need to get you a Grammy, Geoffrey. Right? How can we get you a Grammy to complete the Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony? How can we do this?
Well, I'm quite happy being a toe. I'm a T-O-E.
You're a toe instead of an
I'm
EGOT.
a big toe.
Okay. Well, the big toe, Geoffrey Rush, can be seen in Pirates of the Caribbean. Dead Men Tell No Tales coming up next Friday. And then Ingenious, the Nat Geo series about Albert Einstein, Tuesdays at 9 Eastern Time. Thank you so much for coming on, sir. This has been a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks to the equation.
The equation. I like it. E equals M and then C squared.
It's pretty good.
Mind blown.
Pretty good.
Geoffrey Rush here on The Rich Eisen Show.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
If you like that video, be sure to download our app, and I'll be sure to help the NFL figure out what a catch is.